আসসালামু আলাইকুম। রিডিং চ্যালেঞ্জের ১২তম দিনে আপনাকে স্বাগতম। সাথে আছে আমি তুষার। আমি আমার রিডিং স্কিল বাড়ানোর জন্য প্রতিদিন ডে বাই ডে আর্টিকেল পড়ে যাচ্ছি এবং আমার ৪০ দিনের চ্যালেঞ্জের আজকে ১২তম দিন। আপনারা যারা সাথে আছেন তারা জানেন। তো যারা আজকে নতুন তাদের উদ্দেশ্যে বলছি যে আমি ৪০ দিনের টার্গেট নিয়েছি, যেই টার্গেটের আজকে ১২ দিন। আমি চেষ্টা করছি আমার রিডিং হ্যাবিট তৈরি করা এবং আইএলটিএস ভালো করা। ওকে, তো আপনারাও আমার সাথে শুরু করতে পারেন অ্যাজ ইউজুয়াল। প্রতিদিনের মতোই আমি আজকের যে আর্টিকেলটি পড়বো এই আর্টিকেলের লিঙ্কটিও আমি আমার ডেসক্রিপশন বক্সে দিয়ে দিব, ওখান থেকে আপনারা চাইলে করে নিতে পারেন। তো শর্টকাট নিয়মটা বলে দিই। ফার্স্টে আমি স্টপ ওয়াচ চালু করি, চালু করার পরে রিডিংয়ে চলে যাই। প্রথমে বুঝে সুঝে প্রতিটা ওয়ার্ড জেনে আমি পড়ার চেষ্টা করি লাস্ট পর্যন্ত। দেন আমি স্টপ ওয়াচে ফিরে যাই, দেখি যে কতক্ষণ সময় লাগলো আমার বুঝে পড়তে। ওটা আমি রিস্টার্ট করি, দেন আবার স্টপ ওয়াচ নতুনভাবে চালু করে দিয়ে আমি জাস্ট রিডিং পড়ে যাই প্রথম থেকে শেষ পর্যন্ত। এই হচ্ছে আমার স্ট্র্যাটেজি। মাঝে যদি কোনো ওয়ার্ড বা মনে হয় যে এই ওয়ার্ডটি আমার জন্য অনেক ইম্পর্টেন্ট, যেটা আমি রাইটিং এবং অ্যাজ ওয়েল অ্যাজ রিডিংয়েও কাজে লাগাতে পারবো বা লিসনিংয়ে কাজে লাগাতে পারবো, তখন আমি সেই ওয়ার্ডটি কী করি, সেই ওয়ার্ডটি লিখে ফেলি। তো ঠিক আছে, আপনিও আপনার খাতা এবং কলম বা নোট এবং খাতা নিয়ে বসে যান, নোট এবং কলম নিয়ে বসে যান, যাতে আপনিও আমার সাথে নোট নিতে পারেন বা এই চ্যালেঞ্জটি নিতে পারেন। ওকে, ঠিক আছে, আজকে শুরু করা যাক। আপনারা জানেন যে আমি হিস্ট্রি বেস এখন পড়ছি আর্টিকেলগুলো। আজকেও এরকম একটি আর্টিকেলই নিয়েছি অ্যানসেন্ট হিস্টোরি নিয়ে। তো ঠিক আছে, আমি স্টপওয়াচটি চালু করে দিই। ওকে, লেটস গেট স্টার্টেড। ওকে, এটাও চালু করে দিই। দেন আমরা আমাদের রিডিংয়ে চলে যাই। ওকে, আপনারা দেখতে পাচ্ছেন একটি সুন্দর পিকচার। এখানে অনেক মনে হচ্ছে পুরোনো বিল্ডিং বা এই টাইপের ভাঙা বা তৈরি করা হচ্ছে এই টাইপের কোনো কিছু। তো এটাকে অ্যানসেন্ট এজ এ অ্যান ইমেন্স মিস্ট্রি ওল্ডার দেন স্টোন হ্যাঞ্জ। ওকে, আমি অনেক প্রোনাউন্সিয়েশন করতে পারি না, যার কারণে আমি এখান থেকে গুগল থেকে হেল্প নিই। আপনারা কিছু মনে করবেন না। আমার সাথে যারা আছেন তারা এইভাবে রিডিং পড়বেন যেভাবে আমি আমি পড়ছি, আর্টিকেলটা যেভাবে পড়ছি। আমার একটা আর্টিকেল পড়ার পরে আমার খুব ভালো লাগা কাজ করে।
Stonehenge,
স্টোনহ্যাঞ্জ,
Stonehenge,
স্টোনহ্যাঞ্জ,
Stonehenge.
স্টোনহ্যাঞ্জ, an immense mystery,
An immense mystery,
an immense mystery,
an immense mystery, an immense mystery,
an immense
an immense
mystery.
mystery,
Mystery means রহস্য।
an immense mystery,
An
an
immense,
immense
immense,
mystery,
immense mystery. IMMENS. Immense mystery. Older than Stonehenge. An immense mystery. একটি অনেক রহস্যজনক। Older than Stonehenge. স্টোনহেঞ্জের থেকেও কি older একটি রহস্য, পুরনো একটি রহস্য। Okay, this article published on 7th August 2021 by Andy Curry na Curry, I don't know. Okay, reshaping previous idea, reshaping RESHAPING, reshaping previous idea. Reshaping means নতুন আকার দিচ্ছে। রিশিপিং RESHAPING, রিশিপিং প্রিভিয়াস আইডিয়া অন দ্য হিস্টোরি অফ সিভিলাইজেশন।
সভ্যতার গল্পের পূর্ববর্তী ধারণাগুলোকে নতুন করে সাজানো।
reshaping previous ideas. Okay, rearrange re-ideas the previous history or previous ideas on the history of civilization. Okay, পুরনো সিভিলাইজেশনটাকে নতুন করে রিশেপিং করা মানে নতুন করে সাজানো বা নতুন করে আইডিয়া গ্রহণ করা। go go backly Göbekli Tepe in Turkey was built by prehistoric people 6,000 years before Stonehenge. Okay, what is the pronunciation? Göbekli Tepe.
Göbekli Tepe,
Göbekli Tepe. It's the place name. Is the place of name, maybe a town or city. Göbekli Tepe in Turkey was built. Okay, there that was a city which was built in Turkey country, was built by prehistoric people. কারা তৈরি করেছিল? এটা অনেক আগের হিস্ট্রি, prehistoric না trick
Prehistoric.
প্রিহিস্টোরিক, ঐতিহাসিক, প্রাগৈতিহাসিক পিপল যারা তৈরি করেছিল কত বছর আগে? 6000 years before Stonehenge, ঠিক 6000 years before Stonehenge। ওকে, এখানে আমরা বুঝতে পারছি স্টোনহেঞ্জও একটি মনে হয় সেরকমই কোনো সিটি বা কোনো হিস্ট্রির কথা বলা হচ্ছে, যারও আগে এটা তৈরি করা হয়েছিল। কি তৈরি করা হয়েছিল? গো গোবেকলি টিপ, এই টাউনটা গড়ে উঠেছিল। Göbekli Tepe in Turkey was built. Göbekli Tepe যেটা তুর্কিরা তৈরি করেছিল by prehistoric people, কাদের দ্বারা তৈরি হয়েছিল? প্রাগৈতিহাসিক people। কত বছর আগে? 6000 years before Stonehenge। Okay, then when ও শুরু করার আগে আরেকটি কথা বলে রাখি ভাই, আমিও অনেক কিছু করেছি, টিপস ট্রিক্স অনেক কিছু খুঁজেছি, কিন্তু কোনো কাজে লাগে নাই। মূল বিষয় হচ্ছে আমার স্কিল যতক্ষণ পর্যন্ত বাড়বে না ততক্ষণ পর্যন্ত আমি রিডিং এ ভালো করতে পারবো না। ইম্পসিবল, লিখে নেন, ইম্পসিবল। সেজন্য একটা করে আর্টিকেল পড়েন, একটা করে রিডিং সলভ করেন, আর্টিকেল রিডিং সলভ, আর্টিকেল রিডিং সলভ, অটোমেটিক বেড়ে যাবে এক মাসে ইনশাল্লাহ। আমিও চেষ্টা করছি, আর হলে তো আপনারা দেখতেই পারবেন, সেজন্যই এই ভিডিওগুলো তৈরি করা। Okay, when German archaeologist Carlos Schmidt
Schmidt.
Schmidt
Schmidt.
Schmidt
Schmidt.
when German archaeologist Carlos Schmidt first began
Excavating. Excavating. Excavating.
মানে খনন করা,
Excavating.
dig,
Excavating.
excavating, খনন করা। Okay, I know English word which means খনন করা. This word is dig. Okay, then I learn a new word, excavating. Okay, I write down this word so that I can use in word in my speaking as well as writing also. Okay, then what's the word? Excavating. Plus you can also write down this word if you don't know. Excavating. History. Excavating. Okay, pronunciationটা দেখে নি ভালো করে।
Excavating.
Excavating.
Excavating. Excavating. Excavating. Excavating. Excavating. Excavating. Excavating. Excavating. Excavating. Excavating. Excavating. Excavating. Excavating. Excavating. Excavating. Excavating. Excavating. Excavating. Excavating. Excavating.
Okay, excavating, পাশে ডিগটা লিখে রাখি, খনন করা, dig. Excavating on a Turkish mountaintop. Mountaintop means পর্বত শীর্ষ,
Mountaintop.
25 years ago. Okay, when German archaeologist Carlos Schmidt first began excavating. Okay, when the German archaeologists first tried to dig, excavating, I mean start to excavating, start to dig on a Turkish mountain shop 20 years ago. Before 20 years ago, when German archaeologists tried to begin or try to start dig on a mountain top. Okay, যখন জার্মান আর্কিওলজিস্টরা কি করলো, একটি বাড়ি মাউন্টেন শপ যখন খনন করা শুরু করলো, এক্সকেভেটিং মানে খনন করা, এক্সকেভেটিং on a Turkish mountains 25 years ago. He was convinced the buildings he uncovered were unusual, even unique. He was convinced. Convinced.
Convinced. Convinced.
Convinced. Okay, let's see. Let's hear again.
convinced, convinced,
Convinced,
convinced,
convinced,
convinced,
convinced,
convinced,
convinced. He was convinced the buildings, সে বিল্ডিংটা দেখে convinced হলো. He uncovered were unusual. He uncovered were unusual. অস্বাভাবিক, unusual, unbelievable building was even unique. That was so unique buildings he discovered. Who discovered? The German archaeologist Callus Scamrit discovered first began excavating on Turkish mountains 25 years ago. When 25 years ago, the German archaeologist Callus Smith first began to excavating, began to mountain 25 years ago. That time he convinced to see the building that was so unique. Atop a limestone, atop, what is this?
atop,
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 on atop.
atop,
ওয়াও, আমি এতদিন জানতাম যে অন মানে উপরে, আজকে শিখলাম এটপ মানে উপরে. এটপ বিল্ডিং, এটপ ফ্লোর, ওকে, উপরের ফ্লোর. এটপ, এটপ লাইমস্টোন, চুনা পাথর.
limestone,
লাইমস্টোন,
limestone,
লাইমস্টোন,
limestone,
লাইমস্টোন,
limestone,
লাইমস্টোন,
limestone,
limestone.
limestone,
Okay, limestone, limestone
plateau, plateau,
plateau. Atop a limestone, on the limestone or চুনা পাথরের উপরে, on the limestone plateau near Urfa called Gobakli Tepe. Okay, that place was Gobakli Tepe, Turkish for Belly Hill. Turkish for Schemit discovered more than 20 circular stone enclosures. Discovered, skimmed. What is the correct pronunciation?
Schmidt,
Schmidt.
Schmidt,
Schmidt.
Schmidt,
Schmidt discovered more than 20 circular stone. 20 circular stone. 20 circular stone. Okay. In enclosures care. 20 circular stones enclosure মানে care. Okay. Schmidt discovered more than 20 circular stones enclosure here. The largest was 20 meter across. The big one has 20 meters. A circle of stone with two elaborately carved pillars. Elaborately বিস্তারিত হবে.
elaborately,
Elaborately.
elaborately,
Elaborately, a circle of stone with two elaborately carved, খোদাই করা, carved,
carved, carved, carved,
CARVED,
carved,
আর উচ্চারণ আসবে না. The pronunciation of between R is eliminated. Carved,
carved,
20 circular stone enclosure. The largest was 20 meter across. A circle of stone with two elaborately carved curved pillars, 5.5 meter tall. At its center, at its center, he discovered a circle of stone with two elaborately carved pillars. A pillar was discovered by the archaeologists that was 55-meter tall, and it's situated in the exactly center. The carved stone pillars Aries, Aries, ভয়ঙ্কর,
eerie,
eerie,
eerie, eerie,
eerie,
eerie,
eerie,
eerie,
eerie,
eerie,
eerie,
eerie,
eerie,
eerie,
enchanting, enchanting, eerie,
eerie,
enchanting mean horror, enchanting, haunted. Okay, লিখে ফেলি। E-E-R-I-E, eerie, enchanting, hunting, airy মানে ভয়ানক, airy, E-A-R-I, airy, ভুতুড়ে, ভয়ঙ্কর, ভয়ঙ্কর, dangerous places. Okay, the carved stone pillars airy stylized human fingers, stylized human, stylized মানুষ, human fingers, stylized human fingers with folded hands. With folded hand means হাত গুটিয়ে রাখা, folded hands,
folded hands,
folded hands.
folded hands,
ওকে, ইয়ারি যেটা ছিল অনেক ভয়ঙ্কর, কার্ভ স্টোন পিলার্স, the carve of the stone was very dangerous, which has the human figures with folded hands. I mean the folded hands, folded hands, হাত গুটিয়ে রাখা, যেটাতে হাত গুটিয়ে ছিল, মানে পিলার আবিষ্কার করলো, সেই পিলারে কিছু খোদাই করা সার্কেল বৃত্ত আকারে ছিল, এবং সেই পিলারের গায়ে কিছু ভয়ঙ্কর দৃশ্য ছিল, সেটা ছিল মানুষের fingers with folded hands, and pigs felt bills, and fox শিয়াল felt bills, মানে আসলো না। wait wait up, wait up means
wade up,
wait up,
wade up,
WIGST, wait up,
wade up,
wait up,
wade up,
ওজন করা, wait up to 10 tons. That was the weight of 10 tons. Carving and erecting, carving খোদাই করা ছিল, and erecting,
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 খাড়া করা,
erecting,
erecting, erecting, খাড়া করা। I write down this word because this is the it seems me to so important. Erecting,
খাড়া করা,
erecting,
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 erecting, erecting,
erecting,
erecting,
erecting. Erecting them must have been tremendous technical challenges for people. Tremendous. This is another important word.
tremendous,
Tremendous, অসাধারণ, tremendous, oh beautiful, mind-blowing, tremendous, tremendous, T-R-E-M-E-N-D-O-U-S, tremendous,
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 tremendous.
tremendous,
Speak with me, please.
tremendous,
Tremendous. Figures and forehand with fixed pals built, washed up 10 tons, carving and reacting them must have been a tremendous technical challenge for people who hadn't yet domesticated animals, who hadn't yet যে এখন পর্যন্ত কি করে নাই, domesticated animals, or invented pottery.
pottery,
pottery
pottery,
pottery
pottery,
মৃৎশিল্প invented pottery এটা তার জন্য erecting আচ্ছা একটু মানেটা দেখেই নি আমি
এগুলি খোদাই করা এবং স্থাপন করা অবশ্যই এমন লোকদের জন্য একটি দুর্দান্ত প্রযুক্তিগত চ্যালেঞ্জ ছিল যারা এখনও গৃহপালিত প্রাণী বা মৃৎশিল্প আবিষ্কার করেননি।
Okay. Let alone metal tools ধাতু সরঞ্জাম আচ্ছা let alone metal tools the structure was 11,000 years old structure ছিল that was this is the structure of 11,000 years old or more making them humanity's oldest known monumental structure and or more making them humanity's oldest known monumental structures built not for shelter but for some other purpose. This building was not wasn't built for human shelter but also built for some other purpose some other purpose POSC other purpose or purpose
purpose, purpose,
purpose okay he discovered a building he discovered a circular stone in conclusion the largest was 20 meter the biggest one have 20-meter circle and elaborately carved pillars with some human figures or human figure scenery erecting there um, that the weight was 20 tons and that structure was 11,000 years ago built by some man that was built maybe not for human shelter but also built for other purposes that's the hint scenery or hint message of this passage or of this paragraph the structure were 11,000 years old or more, making them humanity's oldest known monumental structure. Okay.
কাঠামোগুলি 11,000 বছর বা তারও বেশি, সেগুলি মানবতার প্রাচীনতম স্মৃতিসৌধ কাঠামো তৈরি করে।
After decade of work, after decade means 12, 10 দশক. Okay, decade means দশক. After a decade of work, Smith reached a remarkable conclusion. Remarkable conclusion. This is a nice collocation. উল্লেখযোগ্য উপসংস্কার. Remarkable. R-E-M-A-R-K-A-B-L-E. Remarkable conclusion. When I visited his dig house in Urfa's old town in 2007. When I visited his dig house means erecting house. Dig house, খনন করা house, erecting house. Okay, if you remember, could you remember this word? Erecting. The synonym was dig. The synonym was dig. We have read in the first in the past paragraph. This is the excavating. Sorry, erecting. No, mistake. Don't erect it. That was the excavating. Okay, excavating. Okay, after a decade of work, Smith reached a remarkable conclusion when I visited his dig house in Urfa Old Town in 2007. Smith, 10 working for the German Archaeological Institute, told me Gabekli tape called help rewrite the story of civilization by explaining the reason humans started farming and began living in permanent settlement. Told me that Göbekli Tepe, the place name is Göbekli Tepe, could help করেছে rewrite the story কি করতে স্টোরিটা নতুন ভাবে লিখতে কিসের হিস্টরি civilization history by explaining the reason কিসের দ্বারা explaining the reason এর দ্বারা explaining কিছু কারণ explain করা দ্বারা Humans started farming. Humans started farming there and began living in permanent settlement. কত সালে এটা 2007 2007 এটা দেখলো the stone tools and other evidence Schmidt and his team found at the site showed that the circular enclosure had been built by hunter guitars কি শিকারী সংগ্রাহক
Hunter-gatherers.
gatherers
Hunter-gatherers.
GATHER ওকে আচ্ছা hunter
Hunter-gatherers.
gatherers
Hunter-gatherers.
hunter
Hunter-gatherers.
gatherers
Hunter-gatherers. Hunter-gatherers. Hunter-gatherers.
hunter gatherers found at a site showed that the circular enclosures means ঘের ওকে the circular enclosures আচ্ছা ওকে এখন এখান থেকে যদি আমরা মাছের ঘের পড়তে যাই তাহলে fish farm enclosures উচ্চারণটা কি
Circular enclosures.
enclosures
Circular enclosures.
enclosures
Circular enclosures.
enclosures
Circular enclosures.
circular enclosures had been built by hunter gatherer okay that circle was built by hunter gatherers means the shikarigon living off the land the way humans had since before the last ice age
শেষ বরফ যুগের আগে থেকে মানুষ যেভাবে জমি থেকে বেঁচে ছিল
tens of thousands of animal bones that were uncovered were from wild species and there was no evidence of domesticated grains or other plants okay this building just for only the preservation of animals I mean the pedestrian the animals so many species they collect here after hunting and there was no evidence that other gains or plants the archaeologists didn't find anything like that but they find more about the so many bones of of so many different kind of wild species okay this paragraph is proof that this building was the collecting of wild species which species they are hunting okay clear Schmidt thought these hunter-gatherers had come together 11,500 years ago to carve Gopakli tips tree-shaped pillars with stone tools using the limestone means chun okay chuna pathor using the limestone bedrock means keyword সবারে bedrock of the hill beneath mean নিচে hill beneath
Beneath.
beneath
Beneath.
beneath
Beneath.
beneath their feet as quarry means একটি খনির মতো পা
Feet is a quarry.
This hunter-gatherer had come together 11,500 years ago to carve gapingly taped T-shaped pillars with stone tools using the limestone bedrock of the hill beneath their feet as quarry. Okay, I don't understand this paragraph. I try to help from Google.
স্মিথ ভেবেছিলেন যে এই শিকারী সংগ্রাহকরা 11,500 বছর আগে গোবেকলি টেপের টি আকৃতির স্তম্ভগুলি পাথরের সরঞ্জাম দিয়ে খোদাই করার জন্য একত্রিত হয়েছিল, তাদের পায়ের নিচে পাহাড়ের চুনাপাথরটি খনন হিসাবে।
Okay. Carving and moving the pillars would have been a tremendous task. এটা ছিল অনেক কি task? অস্বাভাবিক, অসাধারণ কাজ।
Tremendous
Tremendous,
task.
tremendous,
Tremendous task.
tremendous task.
Tremendous task.
Tremendous, tremendous.
Tremendous task.
Carving and moving the pillars. Carving and moving the pillars. Okay, that pillar was so weighted, 10 pounds, so that's why that is the tremendous task for moving those pillars, but perhaps not as difficult as it seems at first glance. At first glance. প্রথম নজরে। The pillars are carved from the natural limestone layers of the hills bedrock. Means পাহাড়ের bedrock. Okay, of the hill, the pillar were built limestone layers and hill bedrock. Limestone is soft enough. What is limestone? Limestone is soft enough to work with the flint. With the flint means চকচকে.
Flint.
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 Flint. This is a nice word. I write down this word. Flint. চকচকে. Okay, আমরা যখন একটি word collection করব, when we collect a new word, that time we definitely keep some space so that we can write down their sentence or two sentence from that word, so that in the after when I see the exactly word, that time we can feel that wow, it's maybe seems too easy to understand that's what the word meaning and how to use it. Okay, so make sure that one sentence or two sentence from the new word. কোথায় গেল? The pillar were carved from the natural limestone layer of hillstone. With tools available at the time, given practice and patience. Okay. The pillar are carved from the natural limestone layer of hill bedrock. Limestone is soft enough to work with the flint, mean chokchoke, or even wood tool available at the time. Wood tool, কাঠের জিনিসপত্র। কঠোর সরঞ্জাম. Okay, wood tool available at the time, given a practice and patience. Patience. Patience মানে ধৈর্য. Patience. Okay, and because the hills limestone formation were horizontal layers. Horizontal means অনুভূমিক, সমতল.
Horizontal.
Okay, horizontal layers between 0.6 am and 1.5 thick. Archaeologists working at the site believe ancient builder just had to cut away the excess from the site. Cut away means cut away the excess from the site rather than from underneath as well. Underneath as well. নিম্নদেশে underneath. Okay. Once the pillar was carved out যখন এটা carved out হয়ে যেত, then shifted it a few hundred meters across the hilltop. hilltop, পাহাড়ে চড়া, hilltop, using rope, long bumps, and ample manpower, প্রচুর ample, পর্যাপ্ত জনবল, and ample manpower, as few hundred meters across the hilltop, using rope, long long bumps means, which is the means of long bump, long beam,
Log beams.
and ample manpower. Schmidt is
Schmidt.
Smith thought that small nomadic bonds means যাযাবর দল,
Nomadic bands.
nomadic bonds from across the region were motivated by their belief to join force on the hilltop for periodic building project, hold great fast and then scatter again. Hold great fast, hold great উৎসাহ পালন করা, hold great fast and then scatter again. The site Smith argued as a ritual center,
Ritual center.
was a ritual center, perhaps some sort of burial or sort of burial means দাফন,
Burial. Burial. Burial.
burials, or dead cult complex rather than a settlement. Was এটুকুর মানে কি?
একটি আচার কেন্দ্র ছিল, সম্ভবত কোনো ধরনের সমাধি বা মৃত্যুকাল কমপ্লেক্স, বরং একটি বন্দোবস্ত।
That was a big claim. Archaeologists had long thought complex ritual and organized religion were luxurious that societies develop only once they began domesticating crops and animals, a transition known as the Neolithic. A transition known.
A transition known. A transition known.
A transition known as the Neolithic. Once they had a food surplus, their thinking went. They could devote their extra resource to rituals and monuments. They could ভাগ উৎসর্গ করা.
Devote. Devote.
They could devote their extra resources.
Resources. Resources. Resources. Resources.
সম্পদ, resources to ritual and monuments. Once they had a food surplus, their thinking went. The thinking went means চিন্তা চলে গেল. They could devote their extra resources to ritual and monuments. Okay. Extra resource তারা এখানে রেখে দিত. Gobekli tip Smith told me turn that timeline upside down.
সেই টাইমলাইনটা উল্টে দিল।
Timeline upside down. The stone tools at the site, backed up by radiocarbon dates, placed it firmly in the pre-Neolithic era. Pre-Neolithic era means প্রাক-নিওলিথিক যুগ, pre What's the pronunciation?
Pre-Neolithic era.
Pre-Neolithic era.
Pre-Neolithic era.
Pre-Neolithic era.
Pre-Neolithic era.
Pre-Neolithic era. Pre-Neolithic era. Pre-Neolithic era. Okay, Prague-Neolithic যুগ. Pre-Neolithic era, more than 25 years, and after the first excavations there is still no evidence for domesticating plants or animals, and Smith didn't think anyone lived at the site full time. He called it a cathedral or hill.
একটি পাহাড়ের উপর ক্যাথেড্রাল।
যে পাহাড়ের উপর ক্যাথেড্রাল। If that was true, যদি এটা সত্য হয়, it showed that complex ritual means ritual আচার
Ritual.
ritual and social organization actually come before settlement and agriculture over the course of 100,000 years. 1,000 years. The demands of gathering nomadic bonds together. যাযাবর দল. Okay. The demands of gathering nomadic bonds together in one place to carve and move huge pillars and build the circular enclosures promoted people. Enclosures means here, sorry, circular enclosures promoted people to take the next step. People needed to make food, pillars and build the circular enclosure. মানে কি?
এক হাজার বছর ধরে বিশাল স্তম্ভগুলি খোদাই এবং সরানোর জন্য যাযাবর ব্যান্ডগুলিকে এক জায়গায় একত্রিত করার এবং বৃত্তাকার ঘের তৈরি করার দাবিগুলি মানুষকে পরবর্তী পদক্ষেপ নিতে অনুপ্রাণিত করেছিল।
Okay. To regularly host large gathering, people needed to make food supplies more predictable.
More predictable.
মানুষ বেশি গ্যাদারিং হলে তো খাবার বেশি লাগবেই। More predictable and dependable by domesticating plants. And dependable এবং তারা dependable হয়ে যায় domesticating plants and animals. Ritual and religion. It seems launched an ethnologic revolution. The next day, I drove with Smith to the hilltop before dawn. I wondered, মানে to the hilltop before dawn. ভোরের আগে পাহাড়ের চূড়ায়।
ভোরের আগে পাহাড়ের চূড়া।
ভোর কোনটা? ভোরের আগে
Before dawn.
Before dawn. DAWN dawn মানে ভোর আগে। বাবা। Smith to the hilltop before dawn. I wondered, mystified means রহস্যময়.
Mystified.
And awestruck.
Awestruck.
বিস্মিত হলাম.
Awestruck.
Awestruck. Okay, mystified and awestruck. Two words. This is two words so important. You if you want you can write. I don't write down this word because I think that it's so difficult. I can't speak in speaking or on using writing tasks. So that's why I would like to skip this word. Okay. Among the pillar as Smith, his head wrapped in a white, wrapped, জড়ানো,
Wrapped.
W-R-A-P-P-E-T. Wrapped. This pronunciation is important. Wrapped. W-R-A-P-P-E-T. If you go to buy some gift from any shop, that time we it seems that please make me wrapping করে দেন please. Okay, more predictable and dependency by demonstrating. The next day I drove with Smith to the hilltop before town. I wondered, mystified, and was struck among the pillars as Smith, his head wrapped in white clothes to protect it from the blazing sun. Blazing sun means রৌদ্রোজ্জ্বল.
Blazing sun.
Blazing sun.
Blazing sun.
Okay, this word is so important. I write down this word. If you want, you can. Blazing sun. Blazing sun. This word I can use in my speaking section when my examiner asks me what's the weather today, or what's about weather in your city. That time I feel like to use this word. Yes, in my city most of the time the blazing sun in the daytime, exactly the middle of the day from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. That time is keep remain blazing sun, and the heat come in every building of my city. So it's very comfortable in especially particularly in winter season. Okay, blazing sun. রৌদ্রোজ্জ্বল. রৌদ্রোজ্জ্বল বাংলা একটু কঠিন, ইংরেজি থেকে লেখা কই গেল. রৌদ্রোজ্জ্বল. White cloth and protect it from the blazing sun. Oversaw a small team of German archaeologists and worker from the small village down the road. Smith had just published his first report on Gobakli tip the year before. The year before means এক বছরের পূর্বেই, বছর আগে. Sitting the small wood, the Neolithic archaeology experts buzz, but the site still had a sleepy, forgotten feel. But the site
কিন্তু সাইটটি এখনো একটি ঘুমন্ত, ভুলে যাওয়া অনুভূতি ছিল।
had a sleepy forgotten feel. What's the feeling, man? I can't understand.
ঘুমন্ত, ভুলে যাওয়া অনুভূতি।
ঘুমন্ত ভুলে যাওয়া অনুভূতি, এটা কি ধরনের অনুভূতি? ঘুমন্ত ভুলে যাওয়া অনুভূতি. With excavation areas covered by makeshift
corrugated
মানে বিশেষ
corrugated
makeshift corrugated steel roof and potholed dirt roads, winding up বন্ধ করা.
winding up
বন্ধ করা. winding up, please winding up the door. Winding up to the mountain top dig side from the valley below. আর্টিকেলটা অনেক কঠিন মনে হচ্ছে আমার কাছে. It seems difficult to me to read this article and understand every
নিচের
word.
উপত্যকা থেকে পাহাড়ের চূড়া খনন সাইট পর্যন্ত ময়লা রাস্তা। নিচের উপত্যকা থেকে পাহাড়ের চূড়া খনন সাইট পর্যন্ত ময়লা রাস্তা।
আচ্ছা, ঠিক আছে. Schmidt take on the sides is striking. Two pillars and layers is striking. What is the meaning of striking? Akkorshaniya is striking. STRKING is striking. Schmidt take on the side is striking the pillars and layers round the spatial buildings. Captivated colleagues and journalists when they were first published in the mid 2000 breathless media report called the site the birthplace of religion. The German magazine Der Spiegel compared to fertile grassland around the site of the Garden of Eden. ওকে, এটা একটা ব্রেথলেস মিডিয়া রিপোর্ট ছিল যেটা তারা পাবলিশ করেছিল in mid 2000s. Soon people from around the world were flocking to see. Flocking means ঝাঁক, flocking or উচ্চারণ. What is the exact correct pronunciation?
flocking,
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 flocking.
flocking,
Okay. People from around the world were flocking to see Gobekli top for themselves within a decade. The whole job was totally transformed until the civil war in nearly Syria disrupted tourism in the region in 2012. Disrupted tourism মানে বিস্তৃত হয়ে গেল, ব্যাহত হচ্ছে.
disrupted,
Syria disrupted tourism in the region in 2012. Work on site often slowed to crawl, slowed to a crawl as bus leads of curious tourists crowded around open excavation trenches. Excavation trenches means
trenches,
excavation trenches to see what some were calling the world's first temple and made it impossible to man
manœuvre,
maneuver চালাকি wheelbarrow on the narrow path. আল্লাহ রে আল্লাহ, কি সব words.
সরু পথে ঠেলাগাড়ি চালান।
সরু পথে ঠেলাগাড়ি চালান কেমনে, কি ঠেলাগাড়ির ইংরেজি কোনটা? কি আর্টিকেল নিলাম রে ভাই, আজকে তো আমার খবর মানে. Some were calling the world's first temple and made it impossible to maneuver wheelbarrow on the narrow path. Okay, if I don't understand properly this paragraph. If anyone will understand, please make sure and make me understand. Okay, try to help me. Well, over the past 5 years, the mountain top on the outskirts উপকণ্ঠ
outskirts,
over the past 5 years, the mountain top on the outskirts of Urfa has been reshaped once again. Okay, নতুনভাবে সংস্করণ করা হলো. Today, roads and car parks and visitor center can accommodate a curious traveler from around the world in 2017. Okay, everything was reshaped for and it's really travel friendly city nowadays. Corrugated steel sheds were replaced by state of the art opaque fabric and steel shelter covering the central monumental buildings. Monumental is a nice word. Monumental buildings. The Sanlarfa Archaeology and Music and Mosaic Museum, built in 2015 in central Urfa, is one of the Turkey's largest museum. It features a full-scale replica of the site's largest enclosure, and it's imposing. Okay, the T-pillars, those are the equipment and those are the goods, like T-pillars or another item they collect in the museum. They collect in the museum, okay, allowing visitors to get a feel for the monumental pillars and examine their carving up close, so that the traveler can see the close eyes the monument pillar and the marvelous hilarious history. In 2018, Göbekli Tepe was added to the UNESCO World Heritage Register, and Turkish tourism official declared 2019 the year of Göbekli Tepe, making the ancient site the face of its global promotion campaign. I still remember the site as a remote place on a mountain top, said Jens Nordtoroff, a German archaeological institution archaeologist who began working at the site as a student in the mid of 2000. It changed completely. ওকে 2018 সালে এসে কি করলো, ইউনেস্কো একে ওয়ার্ল্ড হেরিটেজ অন্তর্ভুক্ত করলো এবং এটাকে তারা স্বীকৃতি দিল worldwide, I mean globally. It changed completely. যখন নোটরফ যখন এখানে রিসার্চ করতো 2000 সালে, বাট এটা চেঞ্জ এখন একদম কমপ্লিটলি কি হয়ে গেল, চেঞ্জ হয়ে গেল, মিউজিয়াম হলো, সেখানে অনেক কিছু রাখা হলো, অবশ্যই চেঞ্জ হবেই। ওকে, স্মিথ 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 who died in 2014 didn't live to see the site's transformation from dusty mountain top dig to major tourist attraction. Dusty, oh, dusty mountain top. Okay, the author tried to bring dusty mountain top dig to major tourist attraction. Yes, when in 2000 at during the 2004 the time that was a dusty, obviously, definitely, but now this is the most tourist attraction places in the world. But his discoveries there spurred global spurred not Kita
spurred,
spurred spurred global interest in the Neolithic transition, and in the last few years new discoveries at Göbekli Tepe and closer looks at the result of earlier excavations are appending Smith initial interpretations means key. Interpretations of the site itself, work on foundations needed to support the site's opaque fabric means opaque fabric canopy require archaeologists to dig deeper that Smith ever had. Under the direction of Smith's successor means, what is the meaning of successor? Uttaradhikari. Successor. Lee Clara of German Archaeological Institution team dug several transits down to the site's bedrock several meters below the floors of the large building, we had a unique chance, Claire said, to go look in the lowest layer and deposit of the site. কি বললো এটা?
সাইটের সর্বনিম্ন স্তর এবং আমানত দেখতে যেতে।
ওকে, সবথেকে নিচের স্তরটি to go look in the lowest layer. Please go down in the lowest layer and deposit of the site and explore the site. What Collier and his colleagues found may write prehistory yet again. What Clark and his colleagues found made right prehistory yet again. The digs revealed প্রকাশিত করা, revealed মানে প্রকাশিত করা, revealed revealed হয়ে গেল, revealed evidence of houses and year-round settlement, suggesting that Göbekli Tepe wasn't an isolated temple visited on special occasions, but rather a thriving village Thriving village means Somriddhagam, a thriving village with large special building air center. Wow, nowadays it's a thriving with the large special building in a center, and temple visited. Most of the tourists come here every year for visiting the temple, isolated temple. The team also identified a large cistern. Cistern means kundo.
cistern,
The team also identified a large cistern and channels for collecting rainwater. For collecting rainwater. বৃষ্টির জল.
rainwater,
Rainwater. Key to supporting the settlement on the dry mountain top, and thousands of grinding tools. Grinding tools means grinding tools for processing grain for cooking porridge.
porridge,
Porridge.
porridge,
Porridge.
porridge,
Porridge. Okay, cooking porridge and brewing beer and beer বানানো.
brewing beer,
Brewing beer.
brewing beer,
Gobekli Tepe is still a unique special site, but the new insights fit better with what we know from other site. Clary said it was a fully fledged settlement. Fully fledged means একটি পূর্ণাঙ্গ.
a fully fledged,
A fully
a fully
fledged.
fledged,
It was a fully fledged settlement with permanent occupation. It's changed our whole understanding of the site. Okay, this site is fully settlement and fully fledged settlement with permanent occupation, and it changed our whole understanding of the site. Meanwhile, এর মাঝে Turkish archaeologists working in the rugged countryside. Rugged countryside means অসহ্য গ্রাম অঞ্চল.
rugged countryside,
Rugged countryside around Urfa, having identified at least a dozen other hilltop sites with if similar, T-pillars dating from around the same time period. It is not unique temple, said Austrian archaeologist institution researchers Barbara Heroes, an expert on the Neolithic, who was not part of the recent research effort that make the story much more interesting and exciting. Turkish Culture and Tourism Minister Mohammad Nouri Hiroshi went as far as saying that his area could be referred to as the Pyramid of Southeast Turkey. Okay, in the meanwhile, Turkish archaeologists also taking some other areas and discovered and luckily discovered that some hilltop sites, like similar that building, that pillars, although that was so small, that is not so as that building, but that was so small. তারপরও সেটা তো ভালো ছিল, তাই না? Then Turkish Culture and Tourism Ministry follow this step and saying that its area could be referred to as the Pyramid of Southeast Turkey. Rather than a centuries-long building project in spurring the transition of farming,
কৃষিতে উত্তরণের অনুপ্রেরণা
Okay, clear and other now think Göbekli Top was an attempt by hunter gatherers cleansing. Cleansing means আঁকড়ে থাকা.
clinging,
Cleaning.
clinging,
আঁকড়ে থাকা. Hunter gathering clinging to their vanishing lifestyle as the world changed around them. Evidence from the surrounding region shows people at other sites were experimenting with domesticated animal and plants. The people of Belly Hill might have been resisting. resisting. প্রতিরোধ might have been resisting rather than centuries বুঝলাম না একটু ভালোভাবে পড়ি এটা rather than a centuries-long building project inspiring the transition of farming. Okay, clear and other another thing. Göbekli Top was an attempt by hunter-gatherers. Göbekli Tepe was an attempt by hunter-gatherers clinging to their vanishing lifestyle as the world changed around them. Okay, ট্যাগ হয়েছিল evidence from the surrounding region shows people at other sites were experimenting with domesticated animals and plants. এটুকুর মানে কি আসলে?
শতাব্দীর দীর্ঘ বিল্ডিং প্রকল্পের পরিবর্তে কৃষিকাজে উত্তরণের জন্য অনুপ্রেরণা জুগিয়েছিল। ক্লেয়ার এবং অন্যরা এখন মনে করেন গোবেকলি টেপ ছিল শিকারী সংগ্রাহকদের তাদের অদৃশ্য জীবনধারাকে আঁকড়ে ধরার কারণ পৃথিবী তাদের চারপাশে পরিবর্তিত।
Claire argues the side stone carving are an important clue. Claire argues the side stone means Cider pathor sandstone carving are an important clue. Elaborate carving of foxes. Elaborate carving of foxes.
Elaborate carvings of foxes.
Elaborate carving of foxes. Leopards. Leopards means চিতাবাঘ. Leopards নাকি?
Leopards.
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 Leopards মানে চিতাবাঘ. Serpents and vultures. সাপ এবং শকুন.
Serpents and vultures.
Serpents and vultures.
Serpents and
Serpents means সাপ. ওরে আল্লাহ, জীবনে তো বুঝতে পারতাম না.
Serpent. Serpent.
Serpent নাকি?
Serpent.
সম্ভব না ভাই.
vultures.
Vultures. Covering Göbekli Tepe's pillar and walls and analyze you see every day. He said they are more than just picture. They are narrative which are very important in keeping groups together and caring and creating a shared identity. They are more than just picture. কি বলছো এটা?
এগুলি কেবল ছবির চেয়ে বেশি, সেগুলি আখ্যান, যা গোষ্ঠীগুলিকে একসাথে রাখা এবং একটি ভাগ করা পরিচয় তৈরি করতে খুব গুরুত্বপূর্ণ।
When I first wandered across the site more than 5 years ago, I remember a feeling of great distance. Göbekli Tepe was built 6,000 years before Stonehenge, and the exact meaning of its carving, like the world the people there once inhabited, is impossible to fathom. To fathom means বোঝা.
fathom.
Is impossible to fathom.
Impossible to fathom.
So Göbekli Tepe was built 6,000 years before Stonehenge. Like all the people, Stonehenge. Okay, Stonehenge, and the exact meaning of its carving is impossible of fathom. That, of course, is part of the Göbekli Tepe's tremendous magnetism. চুম্বকত্ব.
Magnetism.
Okay, tremendous magnetism as thousands of visitors marvel at place most people had never heard of decade ago. Researchers will continue trying to understand why it was built in the first place. কেন এটা ভাঁজ ভাঁজ করা হলো? And each now discovery promises to change what we now know about the site and the story of human civilization. And each now discovery promises to change what we now know about the site and the theory of human civilization. The new work isn't destroying Callas' Schmidt's thesis. It stands on his soldiers said Heras. There's been a huge gain of knowledge in my view. The the interpretation is changing. The interpretation means ব্যাখ্যা, the interpretation is changing, but that's what science is about. সেজন্যই সায়েন্স রয়েছে. Ancient engineering marvels is BBC travel series that takes inspiration from unique architectural ideas or ingenious mean বুদ্ধিমান
ingenious,
and ingenious constructions built by past civilization and culture across the planet. Okay, finally I done this article. সত্যি কথা বলতে ট্রোলি স্পিকিং এই আর্টিকেলটা আমার কাছে অনেক কঠিন লেগেছে, কিন্তু তারপরেও আমাকে পড়তে হবে, কারণ এই হিস্ট্রি বেস অনেক ওয়ার্ড অনেক জানা হচ্ছে। এই বেস যদি কোনো প্যাসেজ আমি পেয়ে যাই আমার ফাইনাল এক্সামে, মানে আনসার ফাইনাল এক্সামে, তাহলে আমার কিছুটা ওয়ার্ড মনে হয় আগে থেকেই জানা থাকবে। ওকে, লেটস সি হাউ মাচ টাইম আই স্পেন্ড ফর রিডিং দিস আর্টিকেল। বেশি না, মাত্র 1 ঘন্টা 10 মিনিট, 1 hour 10 minutes 37 seconds and 4 nanoseconds. Okay, now I am trying to reset. আমার সাথে যদি কেউ পড়ে থাকেন তাহলে আমাকে জানান যে আপনার কতটুকু সময় লাগলো, বা পরে পড়লেও সেটাও একটু কমেন্ট করে জানাবেন, তাহলে আমার বুঝতে সুবিধা হবে। ওকে, রিসেট, ইয়েস, আর ইউ শিওর? রিসেট and start again. আমি এখন শুধু রিডিং পড়ে যাব। An immense mystery older than Stonehenge. Reshaping previous idea on the story of civilization, Göbekli Tepe in Turkey was built by a prehistoric people 6,000 years before Stonehenge. When German and archaeologist Kalu Schmidt first began to excavating on a Turkish mountain top 25 years ago, he was convinced the building is uncovered were unusual, even unique. Atop a limestone plateau near Arfa called Göbekli Tepe, Turkish for Belly Hill, Schmidt discovered more than 20 circular stone enclosure. The largest was 20 meters across, a circle of stone with two elaborately carved pillars 5.5 m tall at the center. The carved stone pillars stylized human figure with folded hands and fox-pelt belts. Carving and erecting them must have been a tremendous technical challenge for people who hadn't yet domesticated animal or invented poetry. Let alone metal tools. The statue was 11,000 years old or more, making them humanity's oldest known monumental structure, built not for shelter but for some other purposes. After a decade of work, Smith reached a remarkable conclusion when I visited the dig house in Urfa Old Town in 2007. Smith, then working for the German Archaeologist Institute, told me Göbekli Tepe could help write the history of civilization by explaining the reason how humans started farming and began living in permanent settlements. The stone tools and other evidence Schmidt and his team found at the site showed that the circular enclosures had been built by hunter-gatherers living off land where humans had since before at least Ice Age. Tens of thousands of animal bones that were uncovered were from wild species, and there was no evidence of domesticated alien or other plants. Smith thought these hunter-gatherers had come together 11,500 years ago to carve cobaltives, tree-shells, pillars, and stone tools using the limestone bedrock of the hill beneath their feet as a quarry. Carving and moving the pillars would have been a tremendous task, but perhaps not as difficult as it seemed at first glance. The pillars are carved from the natural limestone layer of the hill's bedrock. Limestone is soft enough to work with the flint or even wood tools available at the time, given practice and patience. And because the hill's limestone formations were horizontal layers between 0.6 m and 1.5 thick, archaeologists working at the site believe ancient builders just had to carve away the edges from the sides rather than from underneath as well. Once a pillar was carved out, they then shifted it a few hundred meters across the hilltop using rope, long bombs, and ample manpower. Schmidt thought their small nomadic bonds from across the region were motivated by their belief to join forces on the hilltop for periodic building projects, all great fast and then scatter again. The site Schmidt argued was a Russian center, perhaps some sort of brew, so- sort of burial or dead card complex rather than a settlement. That was a big claim. Archaeologists had a long thought complex ritual and organized religion were legacies that societies develop only once they began domesticating crops and animals, a transition known as the Neolithic. Once they had a food surplus, the thinking went they could devote their extra resource to rituals and monuments. Göbekli Tepe, Smith told me, turned that timeline upside down. The stone, the stone tools at the site, backed by radiocarbon dates, placed firmly in the pre-Neolithic era, more than 25 years after first excavation. There's still no evidence for domesticating plants or animals. The Schmidt did not think anyone lived at the site full time. He called it cathedral on a hill. If that was true, it showed that complex ritual and social organization actually come before settlement and agriculture over the course of 1,000 years. The demand of gathering nomadic bands together in one place to carve and move huge T-pillars and build a circular enclosure promoted people to take the next step. The regularly host large gatherings. People needed to make food supplies more predictable and dependable by domesticating plant and animals. Ritual and religion it seems launched and Neolithic revolution. The next day I drove with Smith to the hilltop before dawn. I wandered, mystified and awestruck, among the pillars as Smith. He had wrapped in white cloth to protect it from the blazing sun. Blazing sun means, you remember blazing sun means Rodro Jaldin. Oversaw a small team of German archaeologists and workers from the small village down the road. Schmidt had just published his first reports to Globality the year before, citing the small world of Neolithic archaeology expert buzz, but the site is still had a sleepy, forgotten feel. The excavation areas covered by makeshift makeshift corrugated corrugated steel roof and potholed dirt roads winding up the mountain peak side from the valley below. Schmidt take on the side, striking T-pillars and large around the spatial building, captivated colleagues and journalists when they were first published in the mid of 2000. Breathless media reports called the site birthplace of religion. The German magazine Der Spiegel compared the fertile grasslands around the site the Garden of Eden. Soon, people from around the world were flocking to see Göbekli Tepe for themselves within a decade. The hilltop was totally transformed until the civil war is nearly Syria disrupted tourism in the region in 2012. Work on the site often slowed to crawl as busloads of curious tourists crowded around to open excavation trances to see what some are calling the world's first temple in made impossible maneuver well rose on the narrow path. Over the past 5 years, the mountain town on the outstrike of Urfa has been reshaped once again. Today, roads and car parks and visitor center can accommodate curious travelers from around the world. In 2017, corrugated car কি উচ্চারণ মেজাজ তো খারাপ হচ্ছে
corrugated,
steel shed were replaced by state-of-art shopping fabric and steel shelter covering the central monumental buildings. The Sanliyev Archaeology and Museum and Mosaic Museum, built in 2015 in central Urfa, is one of the Turkey's largest museum. It features a full-scale replica of the site's largest enclosure and is imposing pillars allowing visitors allowing
allowing,
allowing visitors to get a feel for the monumental pillars and examine their carving up close. In 2018, Göbekli Tepe was added to the UNESCO World Heritage Register. The Turkish tourism official declared 2019 in the year of Göbekli Tepe, making the ancient site and affairs its global promotion campaign. I still remember the site of remote place on the mountain top, said Jens Notor of German Archaeologist Institution Archaeology, who began working at the site as a historian in the mid of 2000. It changed completely completely. Smith, who did in 2014, did not live to see the site transformation from dusty mountain top dig to major tourist attraction, but his discoveries, their superb they spurred global interest in the Neolithic transition, and in the last few years now, new discoveries at the Göbekli closure looks the result of earlier excavations are pending. Skip it initial interpretations of the site itself. Work on foundation needed to support the site's sopping fabric canopy required archaeologists to dig cheaper than Smith ever had under the direction of Smith's successor Leo Clare. Garment Archaeology Institution team dug several clear tissues down to sites bedrock several meters below the floors of the large building. We had a unique chance, Claire said, to go look in the lowest layer and deposit of the site. What a clear what Clare and his colleagues found made right history yet again. prehistory yet again. The digs revealed evidence of houses and year-round settlement, suggesting that Gobekli Tepe wasn't an isolation temple visited on a special occasion, but rather thriving village with large special buildings at its center. The team also identified a large cistern and channel for collecting rainwater, key to supporting their settlement on the dry mountain top, and thousands of grinding tools for the processing grain for cooking porridge and brewing beer. Gobekli Tepe is still a unique special site, but the new insights fit better and what we know from other sites. It was a fully fledged settlement with permanent occupation. It's changed our whole understanding of the site. Meanwhile, Turkish archaeologists working in the Argut countryside with Orfa have identified at least dozen other hilltop sites with similar T-pillars dating from around the same time period. Said historian archaeologist institution researchers Barbara Hiraz, an expert on the that makes the story much more interesting and exciting. Turkish Culture and Tourism Minister Nuri Esi went as far as saying that area could be referred to as a pyramids of Southeast Turkey. Rather শেষ হয় না কেন? Rather than a centuries-long building project inspiring the transition of farming, clear and other now thing, Gobekli Tepe was an attempt by hunter-gatherer clinging to their vanishing lifestyle as the world changed around them. Evidence from the surrounding region shows people at other sites were experimenting with domesticated animals and plants, a trend the people of Belloy Hill might have been resisting. Resisting means product. Clear are goods that side stone carving are an important clue. Elaborate carving of foxes, leopard, serpent means snakes, and full chairs covering Gobekli Tepe's pillar and walls around animals you see every day. He said they are more than just picture, they are narratives which are very important in keeping groups together and creating shared identity. When I first wanted to cross the site more than 15 years ago, I remember a feeling of great distance. Okay, I need some water. I have to drink some water. Please don't mind. Gobekli Tepe was built 6,000 years before Stonehenge, and the exact meaning of its carving, like the world the people there once inhabited, is impossible of fathom. That, of course, is part of the Gabel Tepe's tremendous magnetism, as thousands of visitors marvel at the place most people had never heard of decades ago. Researchers will continue trying to understand why it was built in the first place. And each now discovery promises to chance where we what do we now know about the site and the story of human civilization. The new work isn't destroying Kalu's thesis, it stands on his shoulders, said Hiraz. There's been a huge gain of knowledge, in my view. The interpretations is changing, but that's what ancient science is about. Ancient engineering marvels is BBC travel series that takes inspiration from Munich architecture idea or ingenious construction built by past civilization and culture across the planet. Oh, that was the tutorial article I have read now. I have completely done, and now I would like to see the what time I have to spend to read this article. The whole push it. 17 minutes. This is a long time to read this article. 17 minutes. Wow, that's the fabulous article. That's the hardest article I read today. If you read with me, please comments in my inbox. Okay, comment the video description, not description, the comment box. Please comment me as well, so that I can understand that how much time you spent. Okay, কমেন্ট করেন, জানান যে আপনি কতক্ষণ, আপনার কতক্ষণ লাগলো। আর আমি চাই না যে আমার ভিডিওটি আপনি দেখেন, কারণ আমার ভাঙা পড়া অস্থির অবস্থা। বিলিভ মি, আমি অনেক টায়ার্ড এই আর্টিকেলটা পড়ে। তারপরেও আমাকে পড়ে যেতে হবে, কারণ কথা একটাই, পরীক্ষায় তো ভালো করতেই হবে। আর এই ভিডিওগুলো তৈরি করার একটাই কারণ, যে বোঝানো যে আসলে ভাই টিপস ট্রিক্স কোচিং কোনো লাভ হবে না যদি নিজে কষ্ট না করেন, নিজের আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ডিং পাওয়ার না বাড়ান। আমার আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ডিং পাওয়ার নাই, তাই আমি এভাবে পড়ছি, মানে গাধার মতো খেটে যাচ্ছি। আশা করি ইনশাল্লাহ এক সময় অবশ্যই আমি আমার রিওয়ার্ড পাবো, আল্লাহ আমাকে রিওয়ার্ড দিবে। তো আমার মতো গাধা যদি আপনাদের ভিতরে কেউ থেকে থাকেন, তাহলে এই চ্যালেঞ্জটি অ্যাটলিস্ট নেন, ইনশাল্লাহ ভালোই হবে। এখানে লস হওয়ার কোনো কিছু নাই, হারানোরও কোনো কিছু নাই। ওকে, এই ভিডিও ডিসক্রিপশনে আমার এই আর্টিকেলের লিঙ্ক, আমার আর্টিকেল না, এই লেখকের আর্টিকেলের লিঙ্কটা আমি দিয়ে দিব। যদি চান, যদি মন চায় পড়তে পারেন, ফ্রি, ফ্রি অফ কস্ট। ঠিক হ্যাঁ, ওকে, ঠিক আছে, টাটা, বাই বাই, দেখা হবে আবার। টোটাল টাইম লেগেছে 1 ঘন্টা 30 মিনিট, 1.5 ঘন্টা। বাই বাই।